we got some news involving Tyler Skaggs' family. Now, if that name does sound familiar, you'll know that Tyler Skaggs was the pitcher who tragically passed away from a drug overdose. Tomorrow will be the 2-year anniversary of his death. So may he rest in peace. And I am sending condolences to his family and his wife Carli. But his family is actually suing the Los Angeles Angels, Mario. They are filing lawsuits against the team and former employees. And there's a lot of information on the story, so do pay attention. The family claims negligence over his drug-related death 2 years ago. Skaggs' wife, Carli, like I mentioned, she filed in Fort Worth, Texas, in the same county where Skaggs passed away. And Skaggs' parents, Darrell Skaggs and Debbie Hetman, filed in Los Angeles, and both lawsuits were filed in state courts and do not specify how much money they're asking for. But under the state laws, Mar, the deadline to file the lawsuits is Thursday, which again is tomorrow and is also the second anniversary of his death. In addition to Angels as the organization, they are also suing former team's communication director, Eric Kay, who told authorities that he regularly purchased drugs for Skaggs, and Kay's former boss, Tim Mead, which is just absolutely insane stuff, Mario. The crux of the lawsuit, Mario, get this, is that the Angels were negligent in allowing Kay, who, by the way, is a longtime opioid abuser, have access to players, and that Mead failed to properly supervise them. That is some absolutely insane stuff, Mario. That's just crazy. The Los Angeles Angels did release a statement saying that the lawsuits are, quote, entirely without merit, and that allegations are baseless and irresponsible, and that they would, quote, vigorously defend in court. And this is the statement right here. It says, and I quote, in 2019, Angels baseball hired a former federal prosecutor to conduct an independent investigation to comprehensively understand the circumstances that led to Tyler's tragic death. The investigation confirmed that the organization did not know that Tyler was using opioids, nor was anyone in management aware or informed of any employee providing opioids to any player. Skaggs was discovered dead in his South Lake, Texas hotel room on July 19, 2019, after he had asphyxiated in his own vomit, and the toxicology report showed that Skaggs had oxycodone, fentanyl, and grain alcohol in his system. Kay, who left the Angels in 2019, by the way, he's facing federal charges for distributing fentanyl, which, by the way, is an extremely, extremely deadly drug. Like, whenever that stuff gets released, you actually have to immediately leave. Otherwise, you get exposed and you die by it. So you be very, very careful. If something like that happens, immediately report it, because that stuff is extremely deadly. But Kay is scheduled for an August trial in U.S. District Court in the Northern District of Texas, but he was pleaded not guilty. And I have a statement from Rusty Hardin, who is the Skaggs family attorney. He said, and I quote, as you might expect, the decision to file these complaints have been very difficult. Have been a very difficult one for Tyler's parents and his wife. Nothing will ease the pain and heartache of losing their only child, and for Carli, her husband and soulmate. But they want to get to the bottom of the circumstances surrounding Tyler's tragic death, and to hold the individuals and entities, including the Angels, accountable for the actions that contributed to it. As the federal grand jury indictment made plainly and painfully clear, we are not for the fentanyl in the counterfeit pill provided by the Angels employee Eric Kay. Tyler would be alive today. And if the Angels had done a better job of supervising Eric Kay, Tyler would be alive today. And yeah, Mara, that's basically really it. And there's one more thing, actually. Tim Mead, who had left the Angels organization in late 2019, just a month before Skaggs' death, he became the president of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, but he since resigned from that role a couple of months ago. So I'll start off with this first, Mario, because this is just absolutely insane stuff. This article was written by TJ Quinn, who is an ESPN staff writer. So let me go first, okay? This is absolutely insane. This is insane. First of all, I have a lot of questions, okay? How would you hire somebody who is an opioid abuser? Can I ask that question, please? Knowing that he was an opioid abuser, and you let this man give drugs to this guy, who, by the way, died from it, the Angels are in a lot of trouble, Mario. That's all. That's the best thing. This is absolutely insane. We have talked about a lot of situations, Mario, but I don't think any of them have been as insane as this. I'm not trying to rank anything, okay? But this is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Now, this is why I always say y'all got to look out for one another because you never know when somebody's struggling. Somebody can be like, "Yeah, I'm all right," but really they're not. You know what I mean? And even in a situation like this, you gotta manage this. You know what I mean? Like, and you ask, and the family lawyer is absolutely correct. If none of this had happened, he would have probably still been alive today. He would have. But that's not the case. They still have to suffer from the pain that the fact that they lost their only son. Because the Angels organization over here wants to hire people who are former drug addicts and then they go off and give other people drugs. Like, what's going on here? What the hell is going on here? This is just absolutely insane. And you know what? They left on their own terms. So, like, they're not with the organization anymore. And you know what, Mario? Not only should these people go to jail, they should no longer have a job in the MLB anymore or any sports organization at that. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't ever get a job after jail again because of stuff like this. This is going to follow them for the rest of their lives. This is. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And not to mention, you're giving this man fentanyl. Do you understand that when fentanyl is released, you can immediately die from it when you get exposed to it? This is just absolutely insane, Marv. This is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? Shame on the Angels. They really could have overlooked this, and they didn't. This is why I always say you got to look out for one another. This is why I always say it, because stuff like this happens, and then more people are involved, and more people get in trouble from it. Had this guy not given anybody drugs, had this guy been supervised well, none of this would have happened. Tyler Skaggs would still be alive, and his family wouldn't be in pain because of it. But because you wanted to do this, now you put so much people in pain, and now you're getting everybody else in trouble. This is just ridiculous. You know what? I don't really have much else to say because the only way I can say it is just absolutely insane. That's just the best way I can describe it. So going to his family, again, I do apologize that they had to go through this, and I am sending them my best condolences. As for Tyler Skaggs, may he rest in peace. And to his wife, Carli, I hope she's doing well. And again, I do apologize that she has to go through this pain as well. It's just so unfortunate, because like when stuff like this happens, nobody ever puts into account who they're really hurting. It blows my mind how this stuff even happens. It really does. So with that being said, Mario, I hope his family can get to the bottom of this because this is some really dark stuff, Mario. I don't recall there being a situation like this that we've ever talked about similar to this. It's just some insane stuff. So with that being said, best of luck to his family. I do hope they get to the bottom of this. And as for the Angels, honestly, Mario, I don't know what's going to happen to them. I really don't. Some big stuff may happen. I'm going to be honest. I really am, because in the time that we live in and stuff like this happens, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's just the best way I can say it. So that's really all I have to say, and I'll pass on to you, hear what you have to say.
First of all, before I say anything, I just want to, again, may Tyler Skaggs rest in peace and condolences to his family and loved ones. First off, what I find very, very strange about this is I'll start off with this part right here. Kay told U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration agents that he also had provided oxycodone for 5 other players at Skaggs' request. First of all, it's clear that Skaggs had a problem, Nate. It's very, very clear. Okay?
Right, absolutely.
He had a problem. And again, he gave him 5 other players, which something that Kay should have never done. That's absolutely disgusting and sad. The players have not been publicly identified. The lawsuit claims that the Angels had culture that pushed players to play through injury and that the club knew or should have known about Skaggs' use of opioids. So again, the club is fighting it, And the weird thing I find about this, Nate, is despite him admitting all of this, right, to the law enforcement, Kay is still pleading not guilty.
Yeah, that's just not even right.
It's just weird. Like, he's facing charges for distributing fentanyl. Those are federal charges, and he's still pleading not guilty. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that the Angels are saying like they had no clue of it. Maybe the Angels themselves didn't have a clue of what Kay was doing. Maybe they were doing it under, but regardless, like stuff like this, like they're gonna be in trouble. I feel like
Yeah,
they're gonna be in
they're definitely
trouble.
getting in trouble.
Now again, I'm gonna go to the other side about it. Okay, the paragraph right under where you ended. Okay, this is what I find very very interesting. Okay, the U.S. Attorney's Office announced Kay's indictment last August. Statement said, and I quote, "It was later determined that, but for the fentanyl and Skaggs system, he would not have died. And the autopsy showed that he died by asphyxiation, however, not an overdose." So that might be something right there too that could benefit the Angels right there. That it was if they say this was asphyxiation opposed to the actual drug, that's something that could benefit the Angels. But regardless, I can't see Kay getting out of this. And the same thing
Neither
for
can I.
and the same thing for his boss, Tim. I
Tim
believe his name
Tim Mead.
Tim Mead. The same thing for him. I can't see them getting out of this. Both of them are no longer with the club, but regardless, this is a big issue, Nate. It. I don't understand this, Nate. I don't understand why the sketchiest part about sports is literally the office, and they're literally the ones that control everything.
A lot more happiness than you realize.
Right. Now, you know what, Nate? Here's what I will say, okay? He did it. He gave this to 5 other players in Skaggs' request. I'm going to be honest with you. When he first heard about it, when Kay first heard about these types of things right here, he should have reported it. We always talk about it.
Absolutely.
Report it, okay? If he would have reported, would Tyler Skaggs probably would have lost his job? Yes. But I think that beats him being dead. And again, now the report says that the fentanyl didn't kill him, it was asphyxiation that killed him. That's what they said. Okay, but regardless, who knows? This might have if he would have report what was going on behind the club, with the players, maybe this would have woken up Skaggs to get clean. You never know. Okay, but overall, it shows that Skaggs did have a drug problem, which regardless of whether he did, or not, whatever the case might have been, he has passed away. He was a good pitcher, and to that, may he rest in peace. Nobody deserves to die from those types of things. And drug addiction is sad, Nate, But here's what I will say. I don't blame them necessarily as hiring a drug addict, because the thing is this, Nate, people who have been addicted to drugs and they have changed, So it's kind of unfair to say that doesn't mean you are a drug addict, does not mean that's all you're going to be for the rest of your life and you shouldn't get hired. So I don't blame them necessarily on them hiring him. What I do blame them on is, again, like they said, not supervising him. That's number one. Okay. And number two, that he did not report this when it first was brought up to him. Not only did you do this with Skaggs, but 5 other players received these same types of drugs. He should have reported it in the beginning when Skaggs was getting when Skaggs wanted to get these drugs or whatever the case might be. He should have reported it. He shouldn't have never gave him the drugs. What this reminds me of, Nate, this is the perfect example. Okay, this is the perfect example I can give. Michael Jackson's doctor. That's the perfect example I can give. Michael Jackson wanted a specific amount of drugs. The doctor gave it to him. The doctor should have just said no. Simple as that. Okay, you need to know. It's not about what the player wants in important cases like these. It's about what they need. Okay, he did not need these drugs, so you shouldn't have gave it to him. Simple as that. Stuff like this, Nate, when it gets first brought up, you need to report it. Because you didn't, now these people are in some issues. Now they're in some problems. Okay, now again, it's not going to look good for the LA Angels, but again, the only thing I can say that they have on their side is the fact that they said asphyxiation was the cause of his death, and they're saying, and according to the U.S. Attorney, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, it was not drugs, according to them. But again, who knows what might happen in court? The Angels are going to fight it in court. Eric Kay is pleading not guilty when he's admitted to giving these drugs to people. It's absolutely ridiculous, Nate, It really is. And this is obviously a very, very dark situation. And this is another case that we keep on talking about on how the front offices in sports is really dark and it is really sketchy, And I can't believe we have to report about this. And we've been reporting about this a lot, Nate. I feel like the past few days, this has been all we've been talking about with sketchy stuff behind the scenes. and it needs to stop, Nate. But you know what? Regardless, the thing I will say is I do wish his family the best of luck. I do, because again, you did lose a loved one in Tyler Skaggs, and no matter what happens in this trial, nothing's gonna really like you can get justice for it. You can get justice for Tyler Skaggs with by bringing these guys to prison, but nothing's gonna bring them back to life, and that's just a very sad thought. So with them, I do wish them the best of luck. May Tyler Skaggs rest in peace and condolences to his friends and family.